Chesney.
And I'm Katie Kerr.
And we're from Central Magnet School. We do not have daddy issues.
But maybe you do.
You're probably wondering what exactly daddy issues is.
We went around our school asking people what they think daddy issues is.
We also conducted an Instagram poll on my Instagram asking people what their definition of daddy issues is. You should also follow me on Instagram at Ella Chesney.
Most of the responses on the poll were very similar.
After looking at what everyone else had to say about what their definition about daddy issues is, we had our own definition.
Daddy issues is when your father is present but has an overall negative effect on you and your family.
Or it's when your father is absent childhood and up and leaves a negative impact on you. During the beginning of this year in English class, we read a book called
Things Fall Apart,
where we saw the common theme of father figure issues. We then decided to read 2 books that had father figure issues and do some research over father figure issues. When looking at daddy issues, the absence of a father seems to be more positive than the presence of a bad dad.
So what qualifies as a bad dad and what qualifies as an absent father? After doing research, we decided that a definition of a bad dad is someone who is abusive to their wife or kids. It's a dad that can't provide for his family because of pure laziness. And it's a dad that is overall corrupt, and it's a father that you can't look up to in any way.
An absent father is one that is in and out of their family's lives. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they aren't. To be considered an absent father in a negative way, they are gone because of choice. They leave their family and job behind to go party or adventure like a kid. They can also be absent due to a tragedy such as death. So, in the first book we were talking about, Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo has major daddy issues. The story of Okonkwo shows how big of a deal it is to have a poor or bad father figure in your life. Every action made by him was driven by the fear of ending up like his dad.
Okonkwo spent his whole life trying to become the opposite of his father.
His dad was anti-war, so
he became pro-war. His dad was very soft and loving, so
he became very cold and emotionless. Another reason why his dad was a poor father figure was that he left his family in great debt.
This drove Okonkwo to work hard for his family and build his social status every day, unlike his father did.
The fear of ending up like his father is shown throughout the whole book, including with his relationships with others, all of his violent actions, and even in his death.
Okonkwo's relationships were strained. With his wives, he didn't communicate very well with them, and he loved his children, but it was hard for him to show it because he wasn't soft like his father.
At the very end of the book, spoiler alert, Okonkwo kills himself. This is due to the fact that after coming back from his banishment, the whole tribe had changed. This is due to the fact that the Christian missionaries moved in and changed the tribe. It was a tribe seeking peace, worshiping one God, and having morals, everything Okonkwo had feared his whole life. That's because he had always connected those attributes to laziness and low social class because of his father. This drove him to ultimately kill himself. The next book we read that had father figure issues was Purple Hibiscus.
It's a non-fiction book written by Chimamanda Adichie set in Nigeria.
The father is a very well-respected man in the church and in the town, but behind closed doors, he is far from being worthy of praise. The family looks picture perfect. One girl, top of her class, one boy, best dressed, a beautiful wife, and a godly dad. A symbolic part of the father's relationship with him and his daughter is the sharing of hot tea in the afternoons. The daughter, Kimbilly, calls them love bites. It's where her father graciously shares his steaming hot tea with her. She states that it burns, but she knows it's a sign of his love. Papa also beats his wife nonstop to the point of where it endangers his wife's life. Mama in early chapters becomes excited because she's pregnant in hopes of having another kid after having a few miscarriages. Later in that chapter, she begins to feel ill in the Lord's house and catches the eye of Father Benedict, the priest. Papa sees this as a sign of sin and takes his aggression out on her. He beats her and leaves the blood all over the ground for his children to clean up. Kimberly, throughout the book, says that she can see spots of the blood left from her mother that she had to clean in everyday activities like reading. When her mother comes back, she miraculously is not pregnant anymore, leaving Papa in shame, even though it's his fault. This is a pure example of a bad dad. He affects his children in lots of different ways, especially his daughter. At school, everyone thinks that his daughter, Kimberly, is very high-uppity and snotty because of her quietness. But in reality, she is rebuked for speaking up, especially in public settings, by her father. Even after all of the mental and physical abuse given by her father, when he dies at the end of the book, she's upset because she doesn't know any better. She was always taught that love should hurt.
We also read Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father, A Story of Race and Inheritance. Obama writes about growing up without his father and how he discovered his racial identity. Obama's father left him and his mother Anne in Hawaii when he was a baby. Obama's mother and her parents were constantly telling wonderful stories about his father in order to hide the fact that he was abandoned and his father wasn't coming back. Obama's mother meets a man named Lolo Soetoro, who she marries and follows back to Indonesia. After spending a little time there, Anne sends Obama back to her parents in Hawaii because she feels like he's being desensitized by the culture there. Obama became very fond of Lolo, so when Anne sent him back to Hawaii, it was like another father was taken away from him. When Obama was 10 years old, his father came to visit him and his mother in Hawaii. At this point, Anne had moved back to Hawaii with Obama's half-sister, Maya. They're able to spend some time together, but Obama Sr. soon leaves, and this is the last time Obama will ever see his father alive. Obama later found out that his father's visit was his failed attempt to make up with his mother, Anne. Around the time Obama was entering high school, Anne went back to college to become an anthropologist. Obama's father died when he was 21 in a car accident. He then went to visit his sister, and she told him about the struggles that his father was having not long before he died. He was an alcoholic, and he had struggles with the ruling party in Kenya. In the last part of the book, we find out that Obama travels to Kenya to visit his father's family. He's able to learn about his racial identity and about his father, and he's able to come to terms with his father's death. Obama's relationship with his father impacted many areas of his life. He didn't know where he fit in, and he didn't know where he came from. He also didn't have the relationship with his father that all children crave. In addition to all of this, his own mother didn't even seem to want him. However, he was able to rise above. He became a community activist, and he was determined to help give a voice to the African American community. He also went to Harvard Law School because he thought that that was the most important way to make a difference. He faced so many obstacles, but he was able to give a good life to his wife and his kids.
Some people would fight that no dad is way worse than having a bad dad. They say the father figure should be present and that it's a necessity when growing up. But when looking into it, just because you don't actually have your actual father doesn't mean you can't have a father figure in your life. If there's the absence of a father, then someone can step in and fill that role, versus if you have a bad dad, you're stuck with that because you don't even realize that there needs to be someone filling in that role because you don't know any different. We also conducted another Instagram poll on my Instagram. Again, go follow me on the gram, Ella Chesney. But we asked the question, do you agree with the statement, when looking at daddy issues, do you agree that in most cases it's more positive to have the absence of a father the presence of a bad dad. 82% agreed with us, while 18% didn't, out of the 175 people that voted.